All right. Don't forget, Gwen, don't forget to mark off Bill and Jody and Linda that they're here.
I got them upstairs.
Okay.
I saw them.
So, all right. So last week we got through we made it through the second and the third one, which was that's different. Okay. Why am I not getting? Different than what I normally got going on here. All right, well, yeah. So we made it through the second and the third. Actually, I kind of like this better. I just got to move a little thing on the mouse. All right, good. Anyways, made it through the second and third bowls of wrath, which was the blood in the oceans and the seas, and then in the fresh water and all the rivers and everything, so that all water was turned to blood, and that the proclamation was made from heaven that because the Antichrist and the beast and the devil and the dragon and all the imagery that we've seen representing Satan and the Antichrist and the false prophet and all that, because they had martyred so many saints that now they were forced to drink blood. So we've talked about how these bowls of wrath are targeted to the people who have taken the mark of the beast. It's generally only affecting those people. It's not affecting the believers that might be here on earth. And again, there's a couple schools of thought that the mid-tribulation rapture will happen and there will be no Christians here anymore. Or that there are Christians here, and that, like in the days of Moses, when the plagues were hitting Egypt, a lot of times those plagues didn't affect the Israelites. God protected them and made it so that they were okay. And so there's, if God's done it once, there's no reason why he can't do it again. And so, but either way, it doesn't matter. Just, we know that these are targeted towards the people of that follow the Antichrist and have the mark of the beast. And so it's just going to work like that. Okay. All right, so today we're going to go to the fourth one. Okay? It's Revelation 16, verses 8 and 9. Why am I in Exodus? It's not where I want to be. Okay. All right. Then the fourth angel poured out his bowl on the sun, causing it to scorch everyone with its fire. Everyone was burned by this blast of heat, and they cursed the name of God, who had control over all these plagues. They did not repent of their sins and turn to God and give him glory. All right, so the sun gets really, really hot. Okay, everybody thinks that. Go to the speaker notes if I can't find them. All right, glad I got this. Anyways, we see that everybody thinks that the sun's really hot now, that it's getting hotter, it's getting hotter, it's getting hotter. That's what we're told. Environmentalists are saying that climate change is causing the sun to get hotter because we're deteriorating the ozone layer around the earth and everything and stuff, and but it's natural for a star to, which that's what the sun is, it's just a really big bright star. It's natural from what they've seen and discovered for right before a star burns out, that it gets brighter and hotter or whatever. And so it would make sense that the sun would get hotter as it's getting along in age or whatever you want to say. And so, it's basically, the sun is going to be hotter than it ever has been. And it's going to burn people immensely. It's going to really cause people to suffer in agony. And we saw in the fourth trumpet, back earlier in the book of Revelation, that the sun lost a third of its brightness then. Well, now it's the opposite way. It is like way brighter and hotter than it ever has been before. And so the sun could burn out, and that's what a lot of people think is going to happen, is that the sun will eventually burn out because it is getting so hot. And so if that's the case, then it kind of falls in line with the next one. But yeah, they think that the sun will get so hot and be so massively hot that it's going to burn out. And of course, people will have scientific explanations for it and everything. Okay, this one, as we've kind of talked about in Exodus, that anytime that there was a judgment, like with the blood and stuff like that in the river, in the Nile, things like that, we try to look at those. There is no sun judgment in Egypt during those times. Okay, but we do see that in Joshua 10, 12 through 15, Joshua, when the army is moving forward through the land and trying to take the land and everything, that they're having a battle, and Joshua doesn't want nighttime to come because battle will be over. They can't fight at night. They don't fight at night. They didn't fight at night at that point. So, and they didn't want to start up the next day again and lose the ground that they had made or whatever. So he actually prayed that the sun would stand still, and the sun did. The sun stopped in the sky, and for a period of close to a day, and they were able to keep fighting and keep battling, and actually won the battle because the sun did not set that day. And so we see that miraculous things have happened with the sun in there, so it was used in Joshua 10 to help them defeat the enemy, and now God's using the sun to help punish his enemies, the enemies that have, and that's, God doesn't make enemies, but the people, by their unrepentance and their not wanting to acknowledge God and to know God and everything, they make themselves enemies of God. So, okay. All right, so, I mean, it's not that hard of a bowl of wrath to talk about anyways. I don't really care for heat myself in the summer. I die down here. I much prefer cold. So, I'd rather be cold, and, but a lot of people ask me, well, why did you leave the north then? I said, because of the massive amounts of snow that I didn't care for. But otherwise, I didn't mind the cold. And, I always look at it, there's more clothes, there's blankets, there's stuff you can do to try to get warmer, but there's only so much you can remove when you're hot. So, so what?
We hope you don't take off.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So, but anyway, so yeah, so I would, and it says in there, everybody, again, we don't know how that's translated, and if it's, but it was clear at the very start when these started happening that these were targeting the non-believers. And so maybe there is no believers left on the earth. We don't know. But anyway, but we know that, and the term everybody in the New Living here could just mean, everybody that's not following God. All non-believers. So, questions, comments, thoughts? Try not to fall over. All right, let's move on to the next one. No, wrong way. Come on, thank you. I don't know why this is doing that, but anyways, back to the drawing board. More work to do. Okay, the fifth bowl of wrath. Okay, this is verses 10 and 11. Then the fifth angel poured out his bowl on the throne of the beast, and his kingdom was plunged into darkness. His subjects gritted their teeth in anguish, and they cursed the God of heaven for their pains and sores. They did not repent of their evil deeds and turn to God. All right. So, we had really, really hot sun, bright sun, everything else. Now, every area that the Antichrist is over, at this point, is going to be dark. Total darkness. Okay? And so, since the Antichrist is basically going to be ruling the world at this point, that pretty much means the whole world. Okay, now, it says it's poured out on his throne, and some people will take it to be that just the city of the city of Babylon, the new Babylon that comes. Some people believe that it's just going to be there, but it says in there that it's over his kingdom. On the throne of the beast in his kingdom was plunged into darkness. So basically anywhere that the Antichrist is over. So it's in what I've seen so far and what I understand to be the Antichrist is going to basically be in charge of the whole world. That basically the whole world should be dark at this point. Okay. Now, this seems like something that would, just like the sun being really hot, seems like something that would affect the believers as well. But we see in Exodus 10, 21 through 29, that there is this, this does happen in the days of Moses. It says, Then the Lord said to Moses, lift your hand toward heaven, and the land of Egypt will be covered with darkness so thick you can feel it. So Moses lifted his hand to the sky, and a deep darkness covered the entire land of Egypt for 3 days. During all that time, the people could not see each other, and no one moved. But there was light as usual where the people of Israel lived. Okay? Let me repeat that. But there was light as usual where the people of Israel lived. Finally, Pharaoh called Moses, Go worship the Lord, but leave your flocks and herds here. You may even take your little ones with you. No, Moses said, You must provide us with animals for sacrifices and burnt offerings to the Lord, and all our livestock must go with us too. Not a hoof can be left behind. We must choose our sacrifices for the Lord God from among these animals, and we won't know how to worship the Lord until we get there. But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart once more, and he would not let them go. Get out of here, Pharaoh shouted at Moses. I'm warning you, never come back to see me again. The day that you see my face, you will die. Very well, Moses replied, I will never see your face again. All right, so here we see Pharaoh, this plague of darkness that came across the earth. And I know that moon's not totally dark. I could have just put a black screen up there for darkness, but I thought this was a better effect, So, but anyways, okay, we did see during an earlier trumpet judgment, I think the fourth one as well, when the sun got a third dark, lost a third of its brightness, the moon lost a third of its brightness too, and it was 1/3 less, it had more darkness. So now we see a total darkness, okay? But again, it said in Egypt that the people of Israel had light. I believe God can do this miracle again, would do this miracle so that anybody living on the earth that's a follower of him would have light. And, and it's really sad. This one here, when I was studying this one here really kind of struck me because now, these things haven't even happened yet, okay? But the people that don't want to believe have studied this, and they're already giving explanations for why it's going to happen, and it can't be God because, the first explanation is, well, the sun got so hot, it burned out, and if we don't have the sun, we don't have light. Other people say it's going to be an eclipse. That's what a lot of people believe happened in Egypt, that it was an eclipse because it said for 3 days. And it's a total eclipse, of the sun and whatever. And so, but they're going to try to explain it away. Okay? They're going to try to say, nature did this and whatever and all that stuff because that's just what they do. Right? Some people believe that this is not a physical darkness, that this is a symbolic darkness, that evil has reigned and ruled so much on the earth at that point that basically the entire earth and all of the kingdom of the Antichrist and everything is going to be, there's so much evil that it's just a darkness, it just consumes the earth. And that's entirely possible, but whether it's spiritual or physical, it will cause pain and anguish for the people of the earth who carry the mark of the beast. it mentions the sores. So the sores from the first one, remember the first bowl of wrath, what was it? Boils and sores, right? Okay, well, looks like they're still around. The sores are still affecting the people. And now they've got sunburn, okay? Because no SPF 3000 is probably going to protect you from that fourth bowl of wrath, okay? So, all right, so now they've got sunburn on top of it. Everybody had a sunburn in here at one point in their life?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Right. Very painful, right? So, yeah. Robbie really we went to the kickoff for the football game on the Saturday here at the high school, and we got a little burned, and that was really kind of the first time Robbie, because he don't like going outside, so that was really one of the first times that Robbie had been outside long enough to get a little burned or whatever. Plus, every time he did go outside, his mother would slather him up with stuff, so which I'm just not that good at. So, but we got a little burned that day or whatever and stuff, and I told him, I said, well, just wait until you turn into a snake and it all starts to peel. And he's like, what? So yeah, he wasn't real impressed with that idea. So, but yeah, so. But we know that sunburns are painful, so they're dealing with sunburn, and they're also dealing with the boils from the first one as well. And so they're cursing God. There's no atheists here anymore. Okay, everybody knows that God exists. There are people that are trying to prove scientific explanations for it, but everybody, it says clearly that they are cursing God and blaming God for this. And so there's, and at one point in time, there will be no atheists at all, whether it's here or it's at the final judgment when it says every knee will bow and every tongue will confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. There can't be any atheists then, because they're going to have to confess it and bow and acknowledge it. And so atheism is going to be wiped out at some point. According to...
Are you saying that cursing and blaming is going to be the same thing? Because I close my bread out, I can actually read up there where it says they curse God that's
Yeah.
on my side. Is cursing and blaming?
Basically, yeah. Blame. They want to put blame. They curse.
Most people have done that. I mean, I did it when my first brother was killed in an automobile accident. I blame God. Why did you do that?
Yeah.
Things started working out for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and that's what people do. You're right. People do that now. People, why'd you let that hurricane come? Why did you do this, God? Why anything bad that happens to anybody or any group of people, a lot of people want to blame God, want to lay the blame at His feet and stuff, and.
Well, they don't want to blame the weather. They want something that they can say it's their fault. God, it's your fault that those people died. God, it's your fault to let the Hurricane Ian go through Fort Myers and wipe everything out.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So it's
The only good thing that he did was that one lady.
You can come on in.
Won a lotto ticket and actually won the lotto.
Okay.
They went to the other door.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so exactly, but there's a lot of evil in the world, and there's a lot of bad things that happen, and a lot of
Well, I think evil and bad things that happen are two different things. Evil is destructive, completely to the far side.
Mm-hmm.
Things that happen and the way man makes mistakes is
Yeah.
something that's not evil. It's just
Right. It's
a bad choice.
Right. A lot of it's exactly a bad choice, and basically all of it boils down to from the choice that was made in the garden. That we were originally designed for us to have oneness with God and paradise on earth, and that we would all live in, basically how, heaven is going to be at some point in time. That'll be restored. But when the choice was made by Adam and Eve, that it plunged the earth into darkness, it plunged it into evil, it plunged it into where it's deteriorating. The earth is not getting stronger and better and everything else. It's it's gradually deteriorating. And a lot of that has to do with the continued choices that people make. And yes, we are polluting our world. Yes, we are not taking care of it. Yes, that's a lot of issues. That's a lot of stuff that goes on. But we're also of the that there's a lot of things that are out of our control too. I mean, it can be argued, and it is argued by some environmentalists and stuff like that we caused the hurricanes because of our pollution and our other stuff. It's been great storms throughout all recorded history. Okay?
Man has caused his own problem.
Right, exactly. So, and so, you're right. There is a difference between evil and just bad things happening and stuff like that. But, there's the forces of evil are running rampant on the earth, and they are doing their thing, and they're doing a lot to try to stop things, stop God and to stop people from coming to God. And so, but it's always intrigued me that with a lot of situations, and I would really go out on a limb. Yeah, I'm going to go out on that limb. Might be a shaky limb, but I'm going to go out on that limb. And that it's where every bad thing that happens, God does something good out of it. It's sometimes very hard to see, and very hard, you might not see it for a good long time. Somebody has an accident where they're in bad shape and paralyzed for the rest of their life and stuff like that. You sometimes don't see the good that God's doing, but you don't know that the lives of that person might be impacting. Joni Eareckson Tada is an example of that. Anybody know Joni Eareckson Tada?
I do.
Okay, she was a young girl that had a diving accident and became paralyzed from the neck down. And she was like a teenager at the time when it happened. She has built from that wheelchair and spoke and written books and learned how to paint and all this artist stuff and everything. She has remained faithful to God and impacted so many lives sitting in that wheelchair that she could have never done if she hadn't had that accident. I wouldn't say couldn't have never done, but it would have taken a whole different road and everything. But she has had a major impact on the world and for the kingdom of God with her disability. And that's something that God used, and so it's all these things, and but we know that it says that God takes all things and works them for His glory and stuff in Romans, and so we see that, and it's just a matter of we just got to trust Him, and we know that. But they will curse God for what's happening to them. They will blame God. They will, however you want to say it. They are gonna, and that goes on today, and it's gonna be more. But as these things get intensified more and more, it's gonna be more and more that they're gonna be turning their back on God and blaming. God is trying throughout the whole book of Revelation and all these judgments leading up to the end and everything that's happening. God is trying to reach out and show people that He exists and that He's there and that He can deliver them. And that's one of the reasons why I think that there will be believers on the earth and that those believers will be protected with this stuff, because God's showing that He can protect, He can deliver you. He can protect you from this stuff if you'll get your heart right and turn to Him. But these people are so, like Pharaoh, their hearts are so hardened that they are not going to do it. A lot of them aren't. There may be some, but
just like Moses taking the people out of Egypt. I mean, the people that he took never got to the promised land because of their evilness, and it was their family was there, but none of them ever made it.
Yep.
Moses didn't even make it.
Right,
so.
exactly. Yeah, they're disobedient, and they're not trusting and not having the faith that God would deliver them. So yeah, exactly. The only two that made it were the 2 spies out of the 12 that came back with a report that said, "Yeah, God's going to give us this land. Let's go get it." And the rest of the other 10 said, "Oh no, hold on, they're too big. We can't deal with them." And they didn't have the faith, and so, but Caleb and Joseph, and Joshua, were the only 2 that made it into the promised land from those 1 million+ people that were there from the nation of Israel going through the desert. And those people wandered in circles out in the desert for a whole generation, 40 years or better. And so we see that, and so you know, there is judgment with that, and so, but yeah, so we'll see, but, you know, and it, like I say, Pharaoh's heart was hard, and these people's hearts are gonna be hardened, so, and even, and again, like I said, whether it's spiritual or physical, it's not gonna be a pleasant experience, so, it's gonna be really, really dark for them, and not able to see and stuff, and it's gonna last more than 3 days, apparently. It lasted 3 days in Egypt, it's probably gonna be a whole lot more than that here, so. We don't know the timeline, it doesn't specifically say, but we'll see, so. Questions, comments, concerns?
Your first one, it says the kingdom of Satan goes dark, and my Bible in the commentary, well, it says that the seat or the kingdom where Satan sits goes dark. It's not like the whole entire world goes dark.
Okay, but at that point, my understanding is that Satan's gonna have rule over the whole earth. The Antichrist, who works with Satan, will have unified everything and gotten it to a one world government, one world religion, one world, all that stuff. So basically, yeah, the kingdom, all the areas that he touches, and I believe that that's gonna encompass the whole world at that point, or the majority of it.
Another thing that it mentions is the seat of Satan will probably be either in Rome or Jerusalem. That will be his headquarters, his seat.
Okay.
That's why I said I didn't think that it's a worldwide darkness. It's gonna be on Satan's kingdom or seat where his
Right.
headquarters is located.
Right. And it might not be. It might not be a total worldwide darkness. But yeah, it does say his throne and his kingdom. And so, you know, so it might just be a localized thing of, you know, Jerusalem or Babylon or wherever he sets up his throne and sets up his capital city or whatever it's gonna be, and then goes from there. So, but in any case,
That's the way it was done before, you know, it just went dark in just the areas where the, not Israelites, the Egyptians were.
yeah, exactly. So, yeah, so it can be done again. So, and even, you know, even if there's believers living in the area right there near Satan's throne and his kingdom area or whatever, I honestly believe, I have the faith to believe that those people are gonna be in light like normal. So that God supernaturally does that for them and protects them from this judgment and this darkness. So, but yeah, but in any case, it's going to be a powerful event that will happen, and it will turn people away from God even more, unfortunately. So, but anything else? Okay, I'm going to stop there because we got more and more people coming in with